Jay Stewart. Jay is a historian and has taught in most of the universities in the city, and it was just the right person for this job. Jay's only been with us since May, but we've really benefited from his scholarship. And so Jay will. Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for being here, especially my colleague Alex Bain in the back, from a fellow history and literature buff. I also wanted to thank some of the institutions that partner with us in the study of DC history and culture. Specifically, I'd like to thank the Historical Society of Washington, D.C. I'd like to thank the DC Public Library, Martin Luther King Jr. Branch, Washingtonian Division. And finally, I'd like to thank the DC Historic Preservation Office for assisting us in our efforts. Also, this work could not have been done without the assistance of our loyal interns. Who are not here with us today, unfortunately, but who put in yeoman work in the fall and summer. Specifically, I'd like to thank Victoria Henderson, Carrie Tran, and Josh Yeager. The study of history is generally understood in two ways. On the one hand, a professional historian must devote his or her study to an objective analysis of past events. An historian must not be swayed by emotional appeals or motivated by ideological causes. On the other hand, history can serve as a valuable mirror to enable one to interpret the events of the present day. One can gain a fresh perspective on modern day events by looking back in time to note patterns or trends. That, in essence, is the project that we have embarked upon with the commemoration of the 225th anniversary of the founding of the District of Columbia. The DC Council recently decided to challenge the 225-year congressional oversight of the district. In 2015, for the first time, the Council decided not to wait for congressional review before implementing its budget. This decision has resulted in a court case, DC Council versus DC Chief Financial Officer Jeffrey DeWitt, pending before Judge Brian Holman in the DC Superior Court. The outcome of this case could mean an end to, or at least an amendment to, the current status of the District of Columbia as a territory controlled by Congress. A review of DC's history is important and timely in this context. Providing a broad understanding of DC's unique evolution over time gives one a better perspective from which to judge whether the district has reached the point when it should become free of federal oversight. The question will not be answered in the course of this series of Humanitinis, but the Humanitinis will furnish a basis for the discussion of this possibility. Let me explain the general framework for this year's series of Humanitinis. HumanitiesDC decided to divide the 225th year history of the District of Columbia into 20-year increments. We focused on an important event or trend taking place during each historical phase and linked it to a current issue or topic of interest to DC residents. The goal is to provide a little historical background for a wide-ranging discussion of the modern-day culture of the district. We hope that the audience members will engage actively in the dialogue, irrespective of their knowledge of the specific historical time period in question. The list of topics may be found on our website and in handouts that you will have received today. Briefly, I'll go through them. I would like to emphasize that these topics are part of this series. HumanitiesDC encourages everyone to participate in these conversations on the first Thursday of each month throughout the year 2016. It's okay to miss one or two, but we hope that you'll attend them all. The first Humanitini, scheduled to take place this evening at the Busboys and Poets restaurant in Brookland, focuses on the earliest years of DC history. The idea is to focus on the transition of the federal government from Philadelphia to this newly constructed outpost on the Potomac River. We are linking it to a discussion of the experience of outsiders to DC who have recently arrived. The second Humanitini concerns the growing impact of the federal infrastructure on the local region. The third takes on the physical separation of Northern Virginia as a symbol of the diversification of the area. The fourth touches on the impact of conscious efforts to shape the infrastructure of the district during and after the Civil War. The fifth addresses the first experiment in self-governance of the district during Reconstruction. The sixth takes on the transformation of the district into a marble edifice representing the nation. The seventh, eighth, and ninth Humanitinis discuss the importance of social movements in shaping the local environment, ranging from women's suffrage to class issues to racial integration. The 10th, 11th, and 12th Humanitinis talk about the second and thus far enduring experiment in self-governance, beginning in 1974 with the election of Mayor Walter Washington. We end with the question of what the future holds for the District of Columbia. Ultimately, the goal of the commemoration of the 225th anniversary of the founding of the District of Columbia is to generate discussion. Some may be persuaded that the district should remain under congressional control. Others may feel that the district should be retroceded to Maryland. A third option exists that the district will inspire growing respect and admiration from the rest of the country and may achieve greater autonomy over time. The decision lies with you.